Alright, this build's pretty much 100% optimized at this point, maybe 95%. I'm just going to make a quick couple minute video to go through it. Let's start with specializations. So we've got Survivalist and Sharpshooter are the options. Survivalist is a lot better, and I'll show you why. Sharpshooter, as you know, you get the 30% reload and stability. That's all good, but you can counteract this with ongoing directive without losing any stats, or without losing much. So with Survivalist, I haven't got it maxed out, but what you need, obviously the AR damage, 15%, outgoing healing, 15%, protection from elites, 15%, and the medkit, which is essentially a buffed up chem launcher. Now, the incendiary grenade is great for CC, so I use that. That's personal preference. Now for the gear. So military P416, you could use a custom. This could have higher damage, but it's fine. Optimist, this, even though it says 10% ammo, it works per bullet. So you'll notice every bullet will do slightly more damage than the last. Allegro for rate of fire, overlap is just a bonus, whatever. Accuracy, plus 10 rounds, I would use plus 20 if I had it, but I don't, from the level 3 control points. Plus 10, and then damage to elites you can swap for stability if you like. The gun's stable enough, you don't need it. Secondary is Chatterbox. This is just for Blabbermouth. Now, one of my clanmates, Winter AU, pointed out that Blabbermouth actually has a duration. So once it starts, it's, let's say, for that 10 seconds, you can't actually refresh Blabbermouth. So if you kill someone, reload, get Blabbermouth active, kill someone, don't reload short. Wait till you finish your clip and then reload. Don't sit there trying to refresh it the second time, because you're not going to be able to. You're still going to have the 10 second, and then you're going to end up seeing halfway through your clip, you're shooting at a normal rate again. So that's just a tip. For the pistol, we've got transmission. That's purely for the shock, just as a bonus. You can also use Wascally, which I think is here, for the foam guys if you want. Alright, for the gear. So we've got ongoing directive that gives you the plus 20% weapon handling. Now I've tested this quite a bit, and you end up seeing that without it, the difference between Survivalist and Sharpshooter is pretty apparent as far as handling goes. But if you equip the ongoing set, the two-piece set, it's kind of about 2/3 of the way towards a Sharpshooter as far as handling goes. And I've tested this. I'll do a quick test later to show you. We've got the backpack on the ropes, so we're going to be running 377 over here. On the ropes, hard hitting. You want to just prioritize armor, and then the second stat would be health for most of this stuff. But the highest armor you can get. I'm using Murakami just because it was the best one that I had that fit, and the plus 8 health was the only thing I found useful. All the other sets I've already got, and they're doing their job. So plus 8 health is a good bonus. Now you want to use Fenris chest. We're going to go with Fenris knees as well later. They're the only chest and knees that have 2 talents. So you're going to have a major and a minor talent. So you got Fenris for the assault rifle damage. The second piece will be that protection from elites. Now, with the protection from elites, it stacks with a 15% from Survivalist. So that's already 25%. And then we get a further 5% from our gloves, which we'll get to. So on this, you just go for the armor. I would roll higher armor, but I've got unstoppable force on there. That's what I've modified. And I've left the harden just for the additional 10% armor. You could run damage to elites, but you do more than enough damage with this. You don't need it. Ongoing directive for the holster. With this, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's either health or health on kill. I went with health. Personal preference, but the generic mods, which are the purple mods you get at lower levels, even though these are blue mods, they actually count towards the yellow stats because they're in the utility slot. So I've done the total armor for extra armor, but then burn resistance is great. The only damage that comes from hazards I see is the burning. So having 1 or even 2 of these makes it a lot better to stand in fire. Now let's go to the gloves. So we're going to be running the 3, so we can run this compensated. 15% critical when your critical hit is below 20%. Now this is a damage build, not a crit build, so that's fine. Now this dual stat on assault rifle damage could be, I think 9% is the max you can get on a dual stat. 7% is fine for me. I've already rolled compensated, so that's great. And this is what gives you that extra 5% protection from elites. So we're getting 30% protection from elites just from running Survivalist. Over the Sharpshooter. Now I've tried to recreate this build as Sharpshooter to test identically, and you can't. It's not doable just because of the way the stat allocation works. So yeah, this is a good option, and you wouldn't want to run the additional weapon handling on a Sharpshooter anyway. You'd just run a normal mask. Now we've got the Fenris knee pads, again, dual stats. So hard hitting and then the armor. But patience is the big one. So patience, when you're behind cover for 3 seconds, you get 5% every 1 second back to your armor. This scales with your outgoing healing on the Survivalist. With this scaling, if you're behind cover and you drop a chem launcher, which is also scaling with that 15%, plus your armor kit, which is heal over time now instead of a big bonus that heals around you and it gives you the extra 15% as well, it's really hard to die if you're behind cover. If you're getting damage from anything, even if you have multiple enemies attacking you and they're on your side of the cover, they have free shots at you. If you've stayed behind cover and popped the armor kit or a chem launcher, you're going to be regenning so much armor, it's pretty hard to die. Once you try this, you won't want to go back. So the only things that I would probably improve on, which is ever so slight, is the damage on this gun, if it could get a bit higher. And with the mask, maybe getting this a bit higher. Now, I don't think you can get higher than 35%, I think I read somewhere. Now, I don't have anything to test it, so 33% is great. Obviously, you're losing the hard hitting on the talent, but that's fine. That should be good to go. With the stats, we'll quickly go through them, so you can see all the talents and everything, that's fine. So we've got 0 crit chance, because we don't want any. We want to use compensated. Headshot damage is just a bonus. It's not something we're aiming for. The reload time. Now, this is one thing that I noticed weapon handling is meant to increase, but it didn't. So when I had the 20% weapon handling on and taken it off, it's still 2.2. Doesn't seem to make a difference. Whereas if you run sharpshooter, that will go down to 1.7. Not important anyway. 2.2 is quick enough to get blabbermouth going. So you get weapon handling, assault rifle damage 32%, damage to elites is 68. Now that could be higher if you wanted. I wouldn't really swap anything out. The elites are already dying quicker than the purples for me. Purples seem to be the real elites of the game. 240 armor, 51 health, health regen, all that doesn't really matter. The 19% burn resist and skills are non-existent. So go to the shooting range quickly. Now from here, I use a chem launcher because that procs on the ropes. I use a seeker. Now some people use spotter. Spotter will give you 10% when you're using 10% bonus damage when you're using pulse. It's not worth it. You end up not proccing on the ropes until spotter has finished. So for that 10 seconds or so, you're sitting there with 10% bonus damage, but instead just throw your seeker, let it explode, get 25% damage the whole time. Unless you really want to use pulse for some reason, I haven't found a great use for it other than maybe the EMP pulse just to blow up those the Warhound dog things. Chem launcher, every time you use a charge, that's considered a cooldown, so that works. Now we'll just go over here. I'll show you the stability and I guess the damage while we're here. Alright, so if we were to go pop chem launcher, unfortunately in shooting range you have to cancel your seekers. It's a bit quicker. Stability is like a laser. It's fine. There's no issues with it. And that damage will keep going up anyway, but as you notice here, per bullet, so let's go 55, 57, 56. Alright, so yeah, that'll keep going up. So you've got your 47.6, 47.9, 48.1, 48.4. As you can see, it's per bullet. It's not for every 10%. It doesn't matter. It's per bullet. That's with on the ropes. Now we go. I'll show you the weapon handling difference. I've done this a couple times, as you can see. We'll start here in the bottom of this little crack. So remember, this is with the ongoing directive set on. So I'm just going to hold the button down. I'm not going to adjust for it, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so full clip, you can kind of see where it's gone. So up to that point there. Take it off. Alright, we'll start again. So that's the 20% bonus. So the first one was like around this point. 20%, it kicks up a lot more. As far as accuracy goes, it's pretty stable anyway. Pretty accurate, but that's the difference. So run that to counteract the sharpshooter, and then you could run Survivalist, or you could probably do the same kind of thing on a demo build for another gun. This is the best I've found. Now, the only tip I have is your first bullet with the AR, or at least the military P416, will kick up once. So you see it kick up. So if you hold it down, it'll skip from here to here and then start shooting up. So that's how the second bullet skips. So all you got to do to keep accurate is pull down a little bit on your first shot, and then you can just stay straight. So you can go. It's fairly accurate. It's got heaps of stability, more than enough. Swap it out. Swap that damage to elites if you want more stability. This build has a bunch of utility. It's really hard to die. You have so many options. You can heal your friends. If you play solo, you heal yourself way better. Standing behind cover and not even worrying about healing, just because patience is doing its job, is already great. I wouldn't use safeguard. I'd rather use on the ropes for the extra damage. Safeguard's not really needed, but you could if you wanted that. And the crossbow, as everyone knows, is just it's better than the TAC 50, and the demo is obviously even better than that. So. From there, that's the whole build. You could run this with a pistol if you wanted to. That would be dumb, but you could. Alright, that's the whole build. Take care.